Hello orbiters, after launching a first podcast successfully, we're coming with the second podcast topic called transformation through the relationship with self. Here we unveil or unfold transformation in a day-to-day life. Explore the journey of transformation in relationship with self with our two orbiters having an as-lived experience in their own life. Stay tuned.
Good evening. I'm Jayesh here, ex-core member of UJustBe. I'll just introduce a colleague from UJustBe, Sumit.
Yeah, my name is Samit. Actually,
Samit.
and I work as an infrastructure architect in IBM. And I'm basically an IT professional since the beginning of my career. So I have around 2 decades of experience in IT.
Today, going to speak on topic of relationships affecting or the effects of relationship on transformation in personal, professional, basically any capacity. So it's primarily you can say how the effect of a relationship involves in transformation of an individual. We take transformation as a very big, larger than life kind of a scenario where people are in awe of it. What is it going to involve? How is it going to affect us in an individual capacity, professional capacity? But my personal experience says something different. Transformation need not necessarily be something as a huge or a big project. We can have transformation in very small individual steps wherein the effects are pronounced, but the efforts are not so much. It does not take a huge amount of effort. I think it's just more of a matter of an individual's inclination towards it.
Like you said, transformation is not, it's although a big word, I mean, I feel that when you actually implement it in your as-lived or in your day-to-day, sometimes it is easy. Be aware about your situation and you can transform that into that particular experience into a different experience, or when I feel that when you are aware about your own self and what is happening exactly. So that is I think that is the first step towards your transformation journey.
So it's basically a relationship with oneself, relationship with your clients, your relations, your relatives, could be your neighbors, could be with everyone at large. But what I feel the priority is one's relations with oneself matters more than anything else. The moment we are at ease in our relationship with ourselves, and that brings us into more focus onto the shortcomings or the need for the transformation. And that's where the whole journey starts. So again, based on the individual, it could vary in terms of the intensity, in terms of the ease or the difficulty involved. But what matters is that intrinsic feeling or the intrinsic the thought for the need for transformation to bring about a change, positive aspect is what matters. For example, when we were just sitting outside some time ago, I had discussed my liking for tea. So I used to have tea at any moment, be it day, be it night. Many have said that if they have it in the night, they can't sleep. But that was not the case with me. In spite of that, I made it a point to dissociate myself from this liking. Not that I have given it up. I have tea as we have today, but that's occasional depending on the circumstances. It's not a compulsion from my side. and that again was brought about by the need for you can say having or leading a healthy life, which would be more productive and less dependent on anything.
Okay.
A holistic lifestyle.
Right.
So that relationship between the transformation and the relationship with oneself is, this is an instance of that wherein myself wanting to dissociate that association or that craving for any particular thing and wanting to lead a holistic lifestyle which would affect my mental, physical, spiritual, all aspects of my personal self. Right? So that was my motivation, and you can say it was not a big ask. There were times, of course, during this journey that okay, in spite of having decided, you tend to consume it otherwise out of compulsion. But that's the journey, that's the transformation. By the end of the day, today I can say that tea is nothing, not a compulsion for me.
Okay. So I mean, the topic here basically about, so can we say that the motivator here was, about your health, and that that is the bigger motivator for you to, give up on the habit forming aspect of tea drinking or whatever, right? Because I mean, so that's a very interesting subject that that see, per se, the habit of drinking tea, or we can easily slip into that mode of default mode of going into, back into the habit tea. Okay, it's just one cup of tea or whatever, 2 cups of tea, but your bigger motivator here was the to do to what you call the health aspect, or the uh, the the spiritual aspect was more, and that motivated, I think, you to, not form tea drinking as a habit. So that in itself is a journey, I would say, about
certain such small things they form a part of your life. It could be your approach in a professional capacity. It could be my earlier, if I have to specify my as lived experiences. My approach earlier towards client was different to what I would have wanted to be in a professional way, in a professional sphere. So that again was a transformational journey wherein certain things were taken up by me in a knowledgeable way, even though I would have followed the default pattern a number of times. But that need to develop or transform into certain something positive, which brings more value to the table, to the person concerned, with whomsoever I might be interacting. That's what motivated me to bring about certain small steps or certain small changes in my behavior, which was reflected in my words and actions. Which again was a very the result of that was the most pleasing thing. So when you are at the end of that transformational journey, the result of that transformation to see is worth the effort, or I would rather put it like it's worth everything to bring about a transformation. And transformation is nothing but an evolution. Man is always evolving. Nothing is constant, nothing is steady. It's just a matter of whether one is conscious of that evolution, whether one is wanting to take a personal call to evolve in a particular way that one deems fit.
Or what, so the openness, basically what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
That, I mean, sometimes you have to unlearn your default behavior and just be open, or just be okay with that unknown space, is, I think, the first step towards transformative journey. So you have already, I think, begun, is something which I feel that is required in order to to start your transformation at your personal life as well as, I think, your professional life.
Yes, so transformation transcends all parameters, all facets of your life. But what matters at the beginning is that urge or that feeling to evolve oneself into something positive. And second, as you rightly pointed out, to unlearn the default things which have been accumulated throughout the years and has become your default mode of action or your default go through. So unlearning things is a major step.
Major step, right? I'm aware that this belief is, one of the roadblock towards the transformative journey. So how do you, what you call, overcome that? Is a question that is coming to my mind at the moment.
See, to succinctly put it in Marathi, we have a phrase, "कहतो पण वळत नाही."
Correct.
That is precisely what it is.
Correct.
We all know what is there. See, to know and to want to follow whatever we know is the correct thing, is the crux of the matter. And that whole unlearning the default is that what comes in the picture. So when my belief on the thing which I know to be correct, that belief overpowers whatever has been my default core belief till that instance of time. That is when the transformation happens. That sense of belief or that strength of belief is what is going to affect the transformation.
So it will require two things, I think. One is courage and one is the discipline. I think that is the first thing to go into that journey of.
There is just one thing before that overpowering urge to evolve. That is the basis of everything. Once that urge is there, the courage, it's an intrinsic process. It comes along the way. That urge to evolve is what overcomes any difficulties for that matter. One just has to be aligned to that belief of yours. That alignment or the degree of alignment, the more you are aligned, the faster the results are. So, ease or the difficulty of transformation is very subjective.
Sure.
I've known people who have given up something overnight.
Right.
Whereas some people are struggling with basic things, to give up or to transform themselves. So it's a very subjective kind of an experience, very subjective to an individual constitution.
Absolutely.
There is no guideline, no principle, no measurement, no process, no yardstick. It's all an individual journey where evolution is the only criteria.
So one question coming to the brain is how do we practice this transformation in our as lived or in our everyday walk of life? Sometimes it's my experience that when it comes to very important things in my life, be it professional or personal, that is where you think about transforming or giving focus on the urge to do that. But there are very subtle level other things also in life which are your default, and are your habit forming. For example, tea drinking. In your case, it was important, but in other cases, it is there.
It could be subjective.
It is very subjective. So there, you don't focus that much on putting your energy into getting that transformed. Although you know that it is it may affect your health in the longer run. So how do you tackle this in our awareness as to even if it is a simple thing, even if there is no repercussion about it immediately in your life, still how do you transform a simple your habit also along with the major ones? like your career maybe, or your child, or maybe it could be personal. So how do you do that as a human, as a in every simple walk of life, even if it is important, even if it is just a routine activity.
See, everything here is a matter of ease of doing it in terms of not defining it as a particular process. It has to be gradual, it has to be a day to day, every time, part of your psyche. That is the first thing. If you take it as a process, if you define it or encapsulate it, that becomes extraneous to your natural self. It has to be aligned with your natural self. And the primary need for all this borders on the spirituality, because that is where I found or I have experienced as lived in my case, wherein focusing more on the meditative aspects of yoga pranayama brought about, it starts developing that strength or that urge or that sense of righteousness, that sense of discerning right from the wrong. And the moment that gets built up into you, in your psyche, to a particular extent, then that transformation happens. So it's a very intrinsic, very personal and very deep process where one needs to connect with the spiritual energy within or present in the whole universe. It is when we try to align ourselves. It might be subjective, for some it can happen instantaneously, for some it takes time. But if you are on the right path, what should the distance matter? The first step is what matters. So for me, as you can say, as lived experience, focusing on the spiritual aspects gave me an insight or brought about that that sense of urge for transformation. And once that comes in, it's like a law of inertia or law of momentum, where you have to develop that critical, till the time of developing that critical speed or critical momentum, is you have friction, and so you have you can say obstacles, perceived obstacles. There's nothing called as obstacle or there's nothing called as ease. It is what it is.
Right.
It's all a perception from our individual self. We perceive, okay, this can be an obstacle. So till the time that gradual momentum is being built, is the time that you have to nurture it.
Right.
And persistence is the only thing. As I said, from some things I could affect the transformation easily. Some took long. So that's the due process of the individual constitution, the time taken. So there's nothing subjective. What matters, as I said, is your awareness that this is what is right.
Okay, so you spoke about this spirituality as a concentrated form of energy field, and again, I find that it is somewhere at an unknown, intangible space. It is an intangible space.
I would just like to add one thing. In this area, everything is an intangible entity.
Correct.
What I am trying to rather encapsulate is, in my individual case, I found touching spirituality or reconnecting with spirituality to have brought about an urge for bringing a transformation in my life. And that urge made me overcome whatever obstacles were there. Some examples is what I have shared. So there must be something in your life too which would have affected or would have involved certain outcomes. The process could be subjective. So we all would like to hear one or two instances of something which would have happened.
See, with spirituality, my spiritual journey began a couple of years ago. And what I realized about the topic, that is transformation of the self, is earlier I used to be very impulsive in my decision making, and I used to carry that uh, whatever decisions made. I used to carry the past along with me. I used to think about the past, what can be done. Uh, Over the period of time, what I have realized now is I have cultivated that slowly. I am yet to reach there. I mean, I'm still a very what you call beginner, but I have over the period of time successfully able to drop the past experiences, move forward uh, with the what you call with the present time. Uh, my default behavior. I have tried to overcoming the default behavior in my professional life, morely when it comes to work related habits, the way you deal with people, the way you deal with the processes, the way you deal with technology. All these are part of the professional life, and eventually I have overcome that. I've begun to accept, all the opinions with more openness, as is, and give it a thought, give it that consideration also, and implement it. So somewhere I feel that it is all related to the identity also. The identity comes into the picture. Um, so I have over the period of times, and very recently, I mean, like 4 or 5 years, uh, I have successfully, started identifying that yes, this particular thing is coming from my own identity or the ego, and I should drop it, so that it is beneficial for the growth of the individuals whom I am talking to, whom I am interacting, or even my customer. So that is one transformation journey I have in the last 3 4 years managed to successfully work upon myself in my career.
That's the unlearning
Correct.
the previous
Correct.
thing.
Correct.
The bottom line of this,
Correct.
from what I understand, is unlearning whatever your previously learned concepts
Correct.
or things or whatever it is.
Correct.
So we would love to hear about an instance of actually having an instance of this particular journey of yours.
Okay. So
That will be very interesting.
Okay. So basically, I manage a large bank's mobile platform. Okay. And currently in my professional life, and there is a lot of pressure because it's one of the largest bank in India, and the volumes are very high. I mean, very high in the sense the volumes are in crores in a day. So there is a constant churn and constant pressure of there are continuous messages in the, and sometimes you get very overwhelmed with these situations. To add to that, I also do I mean, when my team works on the operational aspect, I also work on the delivery and the design aspect of those things. So the overall, these two, I have to wear two hats, and becomes very overwhelming. So one transformation that I could manage was not continuously watching the social messages or the WhatsApp messages that come along, even if it is related to a very critical situation. So even earlier, my team used to get very upset, and I mean, message to dala hai, to what is wrong. But now they have realized that if it is important, the call will come, okay, to me, and then we take care. So that is one transformation journey where I have consciously detached myself from the the teams and the social media, especially the WhatsApp messages related to work, uh, because there are a lot of work related activities continuously going on. So I need not have to be involved into everything. Okay. Uh, but when it is important, so now the team understands and they give a call. So that is one area which I have unlearned from my past experience, I will say, where I have earlier. Otherwise, I used to be very overwhelmed by that situation. I used to be very aggressive also. It used to be my way or highway. Whatever I tell, you do it. Those kind of things used to happen. Now they don't. As an example, I even consider, okay, whatever you want to do, okay, you do. At end of, I give you that space, but at end of the day, these are the things which should fall in line. And now the team has realized that WhatsApp communication or just putting the message is not enough. If it is important, they give a call. So that gives me the space, to be detached from WhatsApp messages at off at work level, work related group which is there. Because there are so many WhatsApp groups, work related. एक client का group है, one is your internal team group. Then there is one bigger other 2-3 stakeholders created one group like that. So now this has helped me with relax in my own space, yet give proper delivery and justice to the work that I am doing.
So here I basically understand the ease of your relationship with yourself.
Correct.
The moment you got into an ease with yourself, and the extraneous factors became irrelevant.
Correct.
Not that they did not matter,
Right.
but your reaction towards them
Right.
was now more focused, more calculated, and more full of intent.
Correct.
So that's what it is. That the relationship with oneself is the primary relationship any one of us can have, or rather needs to have, being aware of one's own constitution, one's own inner self, before we even interact or react to the outside world. And that's what spirituality is all about. It's nothing something which is predefined or something very tough.
First
That's
is
what
actually
it is.
the acceptance of your own self
Yes.
and love for your own self. That I think are the key elements, for your own transformative
For
journey, love.
Right.
So by default, everybody has that. I mean, if you are not too critical about your own self and the negative emotions that you emote because of that, maybe anger, frustration, guilt, all those kind of things. If you are, if you overcome that by the emotion of love and acceptance of your own self, I think the transformation journey is very. Then that makes it quite easy for the.
You have touched base upon one keyword which I would like to bring to the fore for our viewers, and that's the key to everything, as per me: acceptance. So the moment that acceptance comes in, your reaction to anything is measured, apt, and to the point, without fluctuating, or there's no tolerance. You are just within that desired value of your relationship, and there is what or your response, and that is the key to the building up or the establishment of any relationship, be it professional or be it personal.
Be it personal, right, absolutely.
So relationship is nothing what we just discuss sometimes back. It's nothing but how or what you are communicating to the person in front of you. How is it perceived? That's the communication is the measure of your relationship. We say that buddies, close buddies. So that's the level of comfort or that ease of relationship we have.
Yes.
So we can communicate to whatever extent.
Yes.
Wherein in some professional or some professional interactions, you have to be very specific, very major. So that's all it is. Just some time while we touched upon acceptance as a keyword here.
Correct.
In my life, I have as lived instance, I will just relate. One specific thing like being here at the given designated time. So earlier I used to have my own, you can say, obstacles. Figuratively speaking, they were not there. But figuratively speaking, as perceived by me, towards meeting of a particular timeline. But this acceptance of that discrepancy of not having or not meeting the timelines, either communicated verbally or informally, or as perceived by the person who you are communicating to. That acceptance of that discrepancy in my constitution made me realize that this is what I want to transform, or this is one aspect of which I want to transform. So today, the time which I had given to Suraj was 3 p.m. and although I reached at 3.3 p.m. and 7 minutes, but that's the transformation I can say, which earlier would have been 3 o'clock at 20 minutes or 25 minutes. So that's an ongoing transformation for myself. But where did that come from? That acceptance that, this is what is lacking in me. It can't be say lacking, but this is what I need to improve upon. That urge to improve upon. Based on, my experiences or my prior experiences. Another form of, another instance of acceptance I can recall is my earlier interaction with my clients, where I used to be not much specific or not much demanding in my interactions with my clients, as in the receivables from my clients, not in a monetary terms, but in process terms, communication terms, information terms. So that is another aspect which I focused on and accepted it as a short or an area which needs to be improved upon, to be transformed upon, to be evolved in, so that that effect of that particular transformation will positively impact my professional life. So nowadays I am very specific in asking the clients as to, suppose being as an HR recruiter, for any particular candidate that gets rejected for whatsoever reason, I ask the specific reason for that particular rejection and don't proceed until I get a satisfactory conceivable answer from the client.
Okay, so that's a very interesting thing.
Yes. Because otherwise, and I explain it to that person, right, saying that if I have to give you a satisfactory candidate, I need to know the shortcoming in my candidate or the selection which I have done based on my understanding of your job description or your specification, your information. So I need this information to further improve and refine upon my search, so that satisfaction comes into picture.
Right. So like what we were just discussing outside about this communication and the way you convey it to the client
that makes a difference.
Makes the difference.
Because I am persistent yet not abusive or not overwhelming.
Because the intention is seen.
Intention is seen. The moment you bring that to the table, my intention is to give you a satisfactory candidate.
Right.
So that the moment that intention, just to touch base upon something which we touch base on. The intention comes from intent.
Hmm.
So that intent is what defines everything. When that intent is correct and strong, and your belief in that is ultimate, then
The communication will
the
come.
communication, all the other processes follow. That is why they say that intent is the foremost thing and the first thing that comes into picture. Just to touch base on something correlated to spirituality, we say that intent is nothing but sankalpa
Hmm.
in our
Right.
Vedic culture or
Right.
Sanatana Dharma. So that sankalpa for any good thing, or even for an everyday purpose, when we get up, we are told, or our scriptures say that you have to repeat that positive intent. It is nothing but sankalpa to ensure that your day goes as per your expectations.
Right.
So this is the relevance of that sankalp or intent in our everyday life. This also answers one question of yours, ki what is that we can do to ensure that what needs to be done. Nothing but go back to your roots, touch base upon whatever are scriptures, ancient scriptures, but they are relevant to this day and in all aspects of our life.
Correct.
The moment we dissociate ourselves, and there was one question or one point made by you, our perceivable knowledge or logic
Correct. Versus the consciousness or the
Yes.
universal unknown
correct.
energy.
So that is something which is this is being brought by the Western influence in our lives, and that's a recent phenomenon, not more than 150 years. But if you transgress that and go beyond that, is when you really understand what our lifestyle was. An simple example could be if you follow your grandparents in terms of their values, their lifestyle, be it eating, be it anything. Because our parent generation was compromised
Correct.
by that influence.
Correct.
You go one level beyond that to our grandparents, you realize what it is. And you can correlate that to your everyday as lived experience.